Genetically speaking, everyone is different. That is true. Some people, you may have heard them say, oh, we're big boned, our family's been big boned. There's not much truth to that. There's some validity how, people's size is different. People may have different muscle fibers. You can use the example of a long distance runner and a sprinter, very different body types, but they're doing the same sport. If you look at this x-ray here, the skeletons are relatively the same size, but the fat surrounding all the levers and your frame, that's where, saying I'm big bone doesn't make sense. A lot of people will tend to get offended by this when you're just trying to explain, there's a lot of other health issues going on here besides thinking you're big boned.
What did you buy today?
I bought 6 Busch Light, 6 Bud Light, and I love them, tall boys.
How much would you drink a day?
Well, what day?
Visceral fat wraps around your organs, creating inflammation and interfering with organ function. This is fat that causes big bellies. This is fat they call heart attack fat.
Well, come on, man. 2 drinks a week. What's that going to do for you? And if you're at home, you should be able to have like 4 beer. That's just 2 more. I mean, I'll have 6.
Maybe a few every night, might not give you significant problems, but when you add up your entire year and actually consider just the centimeters that are growing with your visceral fat and, compare it just to average age and what's really going on and then all the risks you're more susceptible to, it really does add up. So those days do matter.
There shouldn't even be guidelines anyway. Why are you going to tell me how much I can drink at home?
Well, I guess the idea is, would you be concerned that you're at a higher health risk if you're drinking too much?
No.
Out of sight, out of mind. It's really not something we ever notice. Visceral fat, a lot of people just think all fat's the same, but you can be thin and still have high levels of fat.
What, can I have 2 liters of pop? Can I have 2 liters of pop? It's more healthy. 4 beers or 2 liters of Coca-Cola? Do the math.
Although my good friend here is spitting facts, it's not necessarily about it being less and better for you. The sugar content in Coca-Cola is absolutely ridiculous if you break down the actual serving size, but you gotta look.
Well, there's nothing like a cold one after a long day, huh? I've been known to drink a beer or 2. But then again, I've been known to do a lot of things. Here's to feeling good all the time.
Visceral fat is very dangerous, and understanding if you have high levels of visceral fat, a lot of people put this off, and they do usually until it's after the fact. Let's take a look here at what WebMD describes visceral fat as. It's healthy, they say, for you to have some visceral fat. It's called active fat because it affects the way your body functions. But too much visceral fat isn't good for you. It's going to cause a lot of risk. While this type of fat might go along with having a bigger belly, you see it on the outside, you can't see that visceral fat on the inside. It's also possible that you could have a flat stomach and very little visceral fat. So kind of the same things we've been saying, it's hard to identify, but when you actually see the effects it's having on your body, it is alarming. So what can you actually do about it? You've never heard about visceral fat. You want to make sure your visceral fat is at a good level because this truly is the heart attack fat. If you look at this example here of this body, look at what it even just does to the frame itself. Do something about it if you have high levels of it, because this is what's going to affect you from having long-term success. A lot of people are just looking for immediate results to feel better in the now. But if you're not making little steps to change things that you're doing that put you in this situation in the first place, nothing's going to change.
Look at this. On the left, you see a healthy heart, and on the right, not so healthy. The heart on the left has visceral fat. I mean, how long does it take for visceral fat like that to build up?
Well, it's different for everybody. It depends on your activities.
If you do find out you have high visceral fat levels, you probably want to do something about it immediately. Hearing those things from the doctor can be pretty scary. So what can you do now? You heard him yourself. activity.
This right here is the healthy type of organs. Can you see these? Basically, the peaches are the organs, right? When you have an unhealthy amount of fat in your body, this is what it looks like. So as you can see, all the organs are being pushed apart.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in your body. And that nasty visceral fat is probably the worst thing for your health because it releases chemicals that cause a lot of health problems.
A lot of risk associated with visceral fat, and that's why it is dangerous, you know. So visceral fat, it's been linked to all sorts of things such as Alzheimer's. Some of us may have family members dealing with Alzheimer's. It's a horrible disease. Obviously heart disease. This is fat that's surrounding your organ, so it's going to affect vital organs that you need for long-term health. And of course, diabetes. You know, the things you can do today are understanding where you're at. The sooner you start making an investment in yourself, this is when your life's going to change up. You can email me, and you can always go to my website and submit a contact form request. All my discovery calls are free. You can do a virtual consult on my website also. And you know, as far as this channel goes, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe. I'm going to be putting out a lot more stuff here going forward.